Democrats love Jen Psaki, and Republicans love to hate Jen Psaki. They loved her when she worked for Obama. They loved her when she did TV on CNN as a drop-in person here or there. They loved her when she worked for Biden, obviously, and they loved her when she went to MSNBC for her current home as a time host. Now, they don't seem to love her with her ratings at the moment, but they still love her on that end, and the Republicans still love to hate her for what she actually did as a press secretary and in sort of saying things on the TV now. Y'all did not like Jean-Pierre, Karine Jean-Pierre. I can't say her name now properly. I don't know. Sorry about that. But Karine Jean-Pierre, the former White House press secretary who took over for Jen Psaki for the Biden White House, has actually announced her departure from the Democratic Party because Democrats don't like her and Republicans can't use her. She's now a registered independent for all practical purposes. This revelation coincides with an announcement of her forthcoming memoir called Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party lines. It's slated for release in October of this year by Legacy Lit, a imprint of Hachette Book Group. Jean-Pierre served as press secretary from May 2022 to January 2025 officially, the first black woman and openly gay person to hold a position. So she hit some milestones, her diversity hits if you want to, but in all, she's speaking out as a person who no longer wants to be a part of the Democratic Party and never wants to be a part of the Republican Party, saying an independent sort of voice of what was going on, the days and the haywires and the live wires, you will, going on in the White House that she had a role in trying to project to us what was happening. Now, what's in this memoir? Jean-Pierre supposedly offering insider's perspective on the weeks leading up to President Biden's decision not to seek re-election in 2024. She details internal party dynamics and describes what she perceives as a betrayal by the party itself. Contributing to Biden's withdrawal was just a whole lot of just crazy Democratic actions by people who should have been his allies, who in the end either wanted something for themselves or just could not deal with what was happening with Joe Biden. The book critiques the current two-party political systems on its own, essentially how things are working, and just tries to go beyond advocating for the political traditional party divides, something that's a little different maybe that she may serve up in her role as an independent, or maybe she's trying to sell some books. The announcement has listed varied responses. Former colleagues and Democratic insiders criticized Jean-Pierre's move as optimistic, suggesting it serves a personal interest over party unity. She can do that if she wants to. Others are viewing this as indicative of a broader discontent with the Democratic Party. She, as many other folks who are basically just not down with the way the donkeys are running things these days, and she wants to actually move to something that's different, positive, change, whatever, but something different. Although, as we said, some people just think it's a money grab and she's trying to play off of something to get something in because they don't like her. Democrats don't like her and Republicans don't need her as a punching bag now that she's not in play anymore. Jean-Pierre's shift to independence also aligns with the growing trend among American voters as well. Recent Gallup poll indicates that 43% of Americans identify as independents, surpassing those who align with either major party. Through her book, Jean-Pierre encourages citizens to think beyond partisanship and don't get stuck on labels. Engage in strategic, creative approaches to governance, which is great. For those of you who actually follow me, if you didn't just find this on some sort of search, you would know that I actually live my life more or less as independent. I will tell you my politics will run more conservative, right of center, but many things that I'm extremely, I'll say crazy liberal on that are social issues as well. So I flip back and forth right there. That's where I go. But as far as party affiliation, I stopped falling in line with any party quite some time ago, and I will say I voted for every president won except for the Trump times, so that doesn't fall in line as well. But as a person who wants to think in a this is what I care about here, here, and here manner, an independent thinker, a third party that is sort of somewhere in between that goes picks and chooses things, would be great. Jean-Pierre is not leading that party. This book is not leading a cause for that party. Andrew Yang's not leading that party either. So that's going to happen there. But what we're seeing right here for this particular person is someone who was not very popular in the actual party. Someone that people did not think could do her job. In fact, they brought in John Kirby to sort of back her up because they didn't think she was doing her job well enough for what was going on in the main White House. So they brought Kirby in to answer questions and do things on a wider scale. As soon as he retired from the military, he was on the stands for us to see, replacing her in many cases, other than the daily briefings in most cases. We're going to see how this book plays out. I guess I said October. I don't have the notes in front of me again. So October is when it's coming out. So we'll see if anybody's going to talk it up between now and then. Buy the book, either in pre-packages or buy it as well. We know that most people don't buy these books in general. They just sort of buy them in bulk to put in some places, get on the list, and people talk about them for a while. Whether this will still be an issue going forward. Joe Biden being an issue around election time, interesting issue, but not necessarily that's going to push things. But this push to say we should be more independent and think that way, that might actually do something, considering someone cares. And not so much about the independent movement, but about Karine Jean-Pierre being a leader or a cheerleader for that actual movement. Comments, thoughts on the book, on the former press secretary, on her now being independent, on the job she did. I'm one of the people who said she didn't do such a great job at the job. Jen Psaki, knocked out the park. Most people could either love her or hate her because she was good at it. Jean-Pierre she stood at the podium. She answered questions, sometimes poorly. Your response, your questions, your comments, your words against my words, and maybe her words, very much warranted.